Today's topic is about culture and creating an effective, high-performance organizing culture. You know, I've noticed a pattern that I've observed with leaders I've admired, and that is that they tend to succeed, and their success seems to be something that looks easy. And the truth is, it's not easy. And it looks like they're very lucky, and the truth is they're not really lucky. These people are people who lead on purpose. And one of the ways I've seen that's a prerequisite for leading on purpose is setting up, particularly when you come into a new organization, setting the tone for what that organization looks like. I've touched upon that before with a topic on wisdom in the fringes, and also on strategic planning, which are very important topics that lead to this. And so today I'll illustrate two charts and some precepts. These are what I call my golden rules. When I got at where I am today at this organization, I started with these, and we've built upon these ever since. So I will start with my golden rules. Now, these golden rules are you don't dictate a culture, but what you do is lead by example, and that is model the types of behaviors that you're expecting from your people. So it's not just good enough to say, I want this of you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be those things you want, and you have to be fairly consistent about it. So what that really means is you have to think things through. I offer you these, and if you feel you can make any of these your own, then you'll use them. If you're not, then look for what does mean something to you, what rings true to you, that's authentic from your voice, and use those, because you want to be able to model the very things you ask your people to do. So here are my golden rules. These are the things I ask of every one of my managers, and I've since extended that to all my staff. It started with my managers. I started small. And I will now perform some video magic. And which side do I go over here, and I get this on the screen. I'm just going to hope it's there. So the golden rules I gave to everybody, and these are, I have noticed that some people have taken this by surprise. They say, wow, this is something I've never seen before. And when I've shared this with colleagues, peers, other organizations, they've been impressed with it. And mind you, I didn't come up with this by myself. I borrowed it from someone else, and so on and so forth. I expect other people to do the same. And I've made this my own. So my golden rules for my staff are, number one, having integrity. Having integrity with respect to time, with respect to honesty, commitments, and responsibilities. Integrity for me is a really big and important word, particularly when it comes to matching what you say and what you do. To me, that's a lot of integrity, and acknowledging where you have failed and cleaning up after the fact. That's all about, for me, integrity. Time especially, of course, when you say something will be done by a certain time, there are people who are listening to you and counting on that. If it doesn't happen, it shows a little bit of disrespect to simply ignore that. To acknowledge that there was a commitment made and it wasn't met is an important thing. I believe there's certainly room for forgiveness, depending, but it's a lot better than simply glossing over it or not acknowledging it, or even worse, projecting blame or having, lame excuses. So that's my number one golden rule. These are maybe considered in order. The second one being direct, open, and honest in terms of your communication. Please don't dress things up. Just be direct. Be honest about who you are. That takes a surprising amount of practice. Unfortunately, people are practiced in the world of fooling, if not other people themselves. And so honesty is an interesting topic. I look for people who are honest, and as much so authentic. If you think the two are related, then you think like me. Authentic means people actually are honest, and they are emotionally intelligent enough to understand what the truth is coming from their own true selves. A lot of people haven't practiced that, and may not even realize to themselves whether or not they're telling the truth. Trust by trusting and being trustworthy. That sounds straightforward, and I think it probably is that you want to trust other people and you want to be trustworthy so people trust you. Mind you, the context of all these golden rules is team. I want all my team to be this way, and I think my team becomes greater than the sum of its parts if I achieve all these behaviors, if my people achieve all these behaviors and are true to them. Devotion and commitment to the job. I want my people to be devoted. I want them to be committed. I don't want them to hurt themselves. I don't want them to spend late hours, but when they're here, I want all of them here, their brains and their hearts. I want people to deal with the appropriate person to keep an open door. If there is an issue, the person whose issue who's most closely related to it should be the person I want people to deal with, and I want people to be able to receive that, and that's the open door. Willingness to try something new is interesting because in the IT world, things coming new happen all the time, and some people may resist that. In a change org, when you're coming to a new organization, you're probably going to change a lot of things. You may, because there's a fresh set of eyes and you have new experiences, will bring that with you to a new org. And the people who are there, as much as you want to honor them, you don't want to insult them, but you also want to ask them to be open to new ideas, possibilities, and it's a trick. Resistance to change is common, and you can't blame people for that. They've built up a lifetime of expertise, or who knows how long they've been there, at some point, time of expertise and success, track record of doing what they do, and you asking them to change that is a threat, can be viewed as a threat. And walking that line between threat and support is an interesting topic, but it's something I ask my people to do. I just ask. Having a good understanding of the operation, fairly straightforward. Do no evil, channel complaints to the person intended for. In other words, do not gossip. You can see that's very important, so I say it twice in two different ways. And don't be afraid to say, I don't know, or I made a mistake, or I need help. Again, the team is greater than the sum of its parts. No one person can do it all. No one person has every perspective, every point of view, every solution in their minds. And I ask people to say, look, I intended to do something, I made a mistake. Or more so, I'd like to do this, I'm not really sure, maybe I could ask somebody else for their opinion. It may be something I don't want to hear or not ready for, but I want people to get ready to start doing that. I'll reference diversity, cognitive diversity as well in that particular topic. So there you have it, friends. That's my golden rule, list of golden rules. I do want to say that there have been times I've done presentations on how to create a great IT organization, and it's the 10 steps. And it's almost humorous because that's become a meme. If you want to sell a topic to a presentation or even in writing, you want to number it. I've got the top 5 ways to do something or other, or the 4-step program to do this or that. It seems to sell. The numbered lists are something. But I will say that if you're going to have a checklist in creating an organization, you really want to start with some prerequisites. And one of them is creating expectations for your people. Creating a culture is a general thing that can be incremental, may take a long period of time. These things are my first steps. Now I will show you my next piece of magic and show this on the screen. And these are factors I expect my people to have when they operate. And there are 3 different sections. First one, you may see this theme repeat itself, integrity. I expect my people to have integrity with reference to time, to deliverables, and to commitments. You notice I diagram these. Sometimes it's words like the golden rules, or sometimes they're diagrams. It makes it easy for people to remember. If I could sing, I'd jingle these, but I don't sing. And thanks, I think my people would thank me for that. I want my people to be performance-focused, and that's not always easy. I want people to think in terms of what the solutions are. I want them to be accountable for themselves or for their staff, and I want them to be over-exuberant in terms of communication. Assume people don't know, assume people want to know, need to know, and extend that communication. I have found, I've repeated this many times here, and this is universal, and I've seen other organizations say and share the same thing, that communication seems to be the weakest link in many organizations, not the least of which are IT organizations, but many organizations in their workplace, if you do surveys, I trust that if you've done this, you'll find that people are asking for improved communication. This is a problem that vexes communication professionals. It vexes everybody in leadership roles. They want to get better at it. They want to fulfill, and yet there still seems to be an essence that people are saying it's not good enough. I think as we get better, maybe we'll reach that day of nirvana where we say we've achieved communications. But I will say that that's something I want my people to focus on and constantly consider when they're doing something. And finally, leveraging resources. This may be something that's typical of IT, that smart IT people tend to want to have smart solutions that they can think of. It's part of their value equation in terms of themselves. I'm just sort of psychoanalyzing IT people. And I say, you know, that's just great because you want to learn, you want to prove, but in an organization that delivers, it's cost-conscious, performance-conscious, you really want to leverage other people's skills and expertise. So if you're not the most efficient at doing something, you've got to be honest with yourself. Or if you think there's a better way and it's slightly possible, then go and seek that out. And that's what I ask of people. Whether it's internal or external, start with internal. And it's whether it's for work processes or certain expertise, I ask people to do that. So there's my 3 factors for how I expect people to behave when it comes to work. And this new magic pop-up is going to be my model for what it takes for us to get from here to there. I abstract this. Here is wherever we are today. There is the future better self, the future better us. In my organization, our top-level goal, our future better organization, is being a world-class IT organization. Best in class, sought out by peers, case studied by other institutions and publications, recognized in print as being so. Those are our top-level goals. When we did a strategic plan, I only inserted a couple of them, and I had other people fill that out. I wanted people to have some ownership of what our strategy looked like and what our goals looked like. And that's what we came up with. That's what our there was. And there's a progression of here to there. And the factors below that in this particular diagram of what I described as what those are in terms of what those things are that get us there and what are those things that prevent us or slow us down from getting there. And the 2 most important factors are those 2 bubbles below the here, the support and forgive. As an organization, we say we have a certain set of values. We adhere to certain things, the golden rules, the performance focus items, bubbles I showed you earlier. And you may, as a leader or your people may observe certain behaviors in you or other people that don't measure up in their minds to what that looks like. In other words, they're not pulling their weight. They're not fulfilling their end of the bargain. And that's where support and forgive comes into place. Because people don't always know they're doing or not doing so. If we're a team, a strongly aligned, tight, supportive team, we'll want to support others in achieving those consistent behaviors that makes us better. And we want to forgive them for falling down, for not doing those things. We'll want to assume best intentions. And when someone doesn't do something, consistently late for a meeting, not leveraging expertise, doing things on their own, insisting on a particular silo, what have you, we want to forgive them. We're not going to carry that forward and assign them as a bad person. We're going to say, I see what you're doing here. I want to let you know that this isn't what I think measures up. And I'm going to support you in doing something different. The person receiving that communication can either simply receive it and acknowledge it or say, well, no, you misunderstand. This is where I'm coming from. And that's a great cause for conversation and understanding of different people's perspective. Again, with Open Door, the golden rules, you would expect at some point, I may be Pollyannic here, at some point those conversations can happen like that. I will tell you, as Pollyannic as that may seem, I've seen it work. Not 1,000%, not smoothly, not overnight, but I have seen it happen. And I will tell you, for all the suffering and effort it will take for you as a leader to do these kinds of things, seeing the results in action is worth it. I say it's worth it. It's been very gratifying for me. So those 2 factors, support and forgive, gives you some push towards getting to the there. And through initiative and substance, that is quality work, you'll move the the bar to the right, to that future. What will prevent you from being there is certain preferences for style. People will not appreciate the way things are done here and there, for example, or complacency. People maybe simply not buy into this. Why do I care if I want to be a world-class organization? I just want to collect a paycheck. You're going to have some of those. There may be studies out there to tell you there's a certain percentage of people who simply want to punch in, do their thing, lay low, under the radar, get out. They're fine as long as they do their job. You can't have everybody as champion or superstar. You can insist on them all being team players. But if they're not going to be champions, that's great. They're, to a certain extent, they can't be molasses in the works. They can't slow other people down. That is not acceptable. And that's where I draw the line. So those are my 3 models I share with you, dear friends. I hope that means something to you. Maybe you can use these things. And if you have any feedback or any observations that you want to share with me, I, as usual, welcome that. You can reach me at michaeldewisha.com and or through my Twitter account. And I thank you for watching.